In China, what happens if you are 70 years old and have no one to take care of you, and you don't have the money to go to a nursing home? Homeless, begging, lying in bed waiting to die. If you think that, you're sorely mistaken. Today, we're visiting the home of a 95-year-old man. This is where the old man lives. Old walls, broken fan, medicine hanging around his bed. This is his living environment. His necessities are crammed into this small 30-square-meter room. Although his living quarters were simple, his clothes were clean. He was so old that his back was bent. He had difficulty moving around and needed 2 sticks as canes to help him walk. He doesn't live with his family, but that doesn't mean he's lonely. See the person in the blue vest. She visits the elderly man almost every day and provides care for him once a week. In China, many people over 90 years old are illiterate. Therefore, they can't use mobile phones to pass the time like younger people. So the government installs loudspeakers in their homes, like radios, to broadcast news, music, opera, and other entertainment at fixed times each day. Of course, you can choose to turn it off.
今年几岁的？这今年几岁？
杨老师也来看的。
啊，声音听不见。我问今年几岁的
90多岁。
90几？90啊
96了。
？90来的？
老。
你要90来的
？96岁。
那个嘞，你给我不弄。
喝茶，我给弄了。
哦。
刚刚不为了种菜来个的？这个问俺不个种动了？也个金大大嘞。
While the caregivers are still preparing, let's take a tour of the home of a 90-year-old Chinese couple. Passing through the dimly lit living room, you reach the kitchen. The kitchen uses a wood-fired stove. There's no gas or natural gas. Behind the kitchen is a storage room.
Hey!
He told me the loquats were ripe and I could pick some to eat. There's a large vegetable garden behind it. Although their house is very old, it's precisely because they were born early that they were. A very large loquat tree is already laden with fruit. Some still look unripe. I picked one and tasted it. It was very sweet. This tree must be decades old. The care began, starting with a shave. You might be wondering what kind of service that is. I live in Hangzhou, Zhejiang province. It's a very humane city with excellent welfare benefits for its residents. For elderly people who paid for medical insurance when they were younger, the government pays to hire certified caregivers to provide free care services. The second aspect of care is wiping the body. Because the care is one-on-one, it's impossible to guarantee the safety of the elderly person when bathing them, so it's just a simple body wipe.
我吃不了几口。
还得回去。还得回去我吃。来不来？
干啥？
俺们不让哦。
干啥不让？干啥？
The caregivers are employed by the government. Seniors who pass the government screening process and are deemed old or disabled can receive caregiving services from these caregivers free of charge. Each service session lasts approximately 2 hours, and one caregiver may be assigned to care for 4 seniors per day. These caregivers, with 2 days off per week, earn around 6,000 renminbi per month, which is approximately $880. Do you think their salary high or low? Most of them are middle-aged women in their 40s and 50s. They don't have as many job opportunities as younger people. So this job provides a new opportunity for them when they face a job crisis. At the same time, their working hours are relatively flexible, allowing them to balance work and family life. Generally, long-term care relationships are stable. Therefore, caregivers and elderly people gradually become familiar with each other, and the caregivers also become familiar with the layout of the elderly person's home. They act like the elderly person's children, visiting or caring for them daily. The weather here is already warm enough to wear short sleeves, so the elderly sweat every day. Since they can't bathe, We can only make them feel comfortable by wiping them down frequently. This method is more humane than sending them to a nursing home, because elderly people in China are very attached to their homes. Their children may already have new houses, but they are unwilling to leave the house they have lived in for decades. Even if living alone is dangerous, they are unwilling to live in an unfamiliar place in their old age. Put on clean clothes. These clothes are actually taken away by the caregiver every day for washing, and then clean clothes are brought back the next day. Next is nail trimming. Hair trimming is not included in the treatment. Older people usually have very little hair and don't really need this service. After cleaning the upper body, it is also very important to take care of the lower body. Perhaps if I show you the elderly people's living environment, you will understand why they are unwilling to leave. This is a pomelo tree. The fruit has been blown to the ground by a strong wind. These were grown by the elderly themselves. Because they weren't fertilized or cared for, the fruit didn't taste as good as the ones sold in supermarkets. The land in front also belongs to the old man. His son planted fruit trees there. This is a peach tree, and the fruit is still growing and not yet ripe. The watermelons are almost ripe. There is land next to and behind the house where vegetables and fruits can be grown for Chinese people. Farming is ingrained in their genes. Abandoning land is unforgivable. That's why the elderly often prefer to live in the countryside, tending to their land. The caregiver was finishing up. Music was playing over the loudspeaker. This was the elderly person's only entertainment when they were home alone. The caregiver found a bag, put in the soiled clothes, and would bring them back after washing and drying them. After finishing all the work, we left on our electric scooters. These caregivers work like this every day, riding their scooters through the countryside to provide care and companionship to lonely elderly people. This is truly a very meaningful policy. This is a glimpse into the lives of people over 70 in China. Is it what you imagine? They live in rural areas like this, leading a more comfortable life than people in mountainous regions, though not as comfortable as the elderly in big cities who enjoy dancing and traveling. That concludes today's video. What else would you like to know about China? Tell me in the comments, and I'll film the most authentic China for you.